This is TWiT.
I imagine you pay attention to this. I'm a big Reddit user. It all started when Reddit decided, first of all, it really all started. The truth is, it really all started when Reddit decided to go public, to do an IPO. Reddit was purchased by Condé Nast. They spun it out as a standalone company, but they still are the majority holder. They decided to have an IPO. And of course, when the problem is Reddit's never made any money. It's only lost money. So before you do an IPO, you want to figure out a way, how can we show people that we are going to make a nice, tidy profit? Well, the first thing you do is you look over at Elon Musk. What's he doing over at Twitter? Maybe not the best idea, but anyway, that's what they did. And they said, oh, look what Elon did. He started charging for the API. Started charging a lot for the API. Reddit announced that all third-party apps, anything that integrated with Reddit that wasn't company property, would pay these fees. Really, the battle began when the creator of Apollo, which is an excellent iOS third-party app for Reddit. It's the one I use on my iPhone and iPad. I love Apollo. Christian Selig posted, hey, I've talked to Reddit about this API, and based on my number of users, it's going to cost me $20 million a year to continue to run Apollo. He's since announced that June 30th, Apollo goes away. It's gone.
What? He doesn't want to pay $20 million a year?
Yeah. How? What? What kind of fool are you?
Come on. It's only $20 million.
Reddit is fun. RIF also going away. A number of third-party apps have decided to go away. A number of subreddits, the Reddit communities, have announced they are going dark. Starting tomorrow, a little boycott. One, iPhone says we're going dark forever. Then CEO Steve Huffman says, let's have an AMA. I can solve this. Doesn't answer a lot of questions. I think the last time I saw his karma was down below 100,000. It's as bad as you can get. The moderators of /r videos wrote that Huffman's AMA performance was a collage of inappropriate responses.
Goodness.
He also kind of implied that Selig, the creator of Apollo, was lying. Selig said, just turns out I live in Canada, a one-party country. I recorded all our conversations, Steve, and he posted them and showed that, in fact, Huffman was misrepresenting the conversation completely. Huffman, at that point in the AMA, said, well, we're just not going to do business with this Apollo guy. There is a nasty battle brewing, and I wonder how this is going to affect Reddit, because I tell you what, I can get away with, I can lose Twitter. Not happy about it, but I can lose Twitter. I don't want to lose Reddit. And it looks like it's almost as if users have finally realized, hey, you know what? We have the power here. What do you think, Sam?
Obviously, Reddit does need to make money. There is a cost associated with providing these APIs, just as Twitter and every other company that does APIs, like Google and Microsoft and Facebook and everybody else. There's a cost associated with that, and it's not unreasonable to charge some amount of money to cover those costs. It's the way business works. I don't know, Reddit's financings. I don't know how much it actually would cost them to provide these APIs. But I'm guessing that it's a lot less than $20 million a year, for at least, for the amount of hits, that they would get from somebody like Apollo. So, like I said, I don't know what Reddit's financial, what their costs are. But I think, if there were a reasonable cost for access to those APIs, I think, that would be perfectly fair. It's, it's legitimate. And, if you're building your business on top of somebody else's platform, it's not unreasonable to expect to be paid or to expect to pay some amount for access to that platform. It's just a question of fairness. How much is actually fair based on the real cost and what people are willing, what your downstream customers are willing to pay.
Yeah, my initial when Reddit announced this, my initial reaction is, well, at least they gave you notice. Twitter just pulled the plug.
Yeah, very true.
And
one day everything just stopped working.
And then they said, "What are you talking about?" And then they said, "Oh no, these third party apps have broken our rules. That's it. They broke our rules." And then, the creator of TWiT said, "What are you talking about? We've been doing this for 15 years. What rules do we break?" And then Reddit said, "These rules, the ones we just wrote." And I mean, not Reddit, Twitter said, "These rules, the ones we just wrote." It was just it was terribly handled, right? And so I thought, Reddit, at least they announced it. They gave you time. You're right, Sam. They have a right to make money on this if they're losing money, and others, third parties, are making money. Share in the proceeds. Of course, 20 million's a little. That's, I'm sure, more than Apollo makes.
Seems a bit disingenuous that it cost them $20 million to host, to have these APIs going for this one app. I'm like, I think you would have collapsed years ago if that was the case.
Yeah,
I think that was Christian's point. Is look, I understand. I'm willing to give you some of my money, but it's only you're asking for much more than it's costing you. And if it, and this is the thing that he then said, look, if you say that I'm costing you 20 million, why don't you buy Apollo? I'll sell it to you for 10 and you're going to make money. You're going to make money.
Good for him.
And then,
my
they
guess
said
is,
no.
My guess is that, Reddit doesn't see a whole lot of potential revenue streams. Yeah, and they've got a lot of costs across a lot of different things that they can't necessarily directly recover revenue on that. And so they look at the APIs and say, well, that's one place where we can pull in some money. Let's use that to cover the cost of all this other stuff that we have to do. And, so anybody using those APIs is getting disproportionately hit by those costs.
Well, and remember, if you're using a third-party app, you may not be seeing the ads that Reddit posts on. And Reddit, by the way, has apps. They're not very good. That's why people use the third-party apps. And, of course, they have a website where you would see the ads, or you can, as I do, pay for Reddit so that I don't see the ads. But I guess just like the Twitter third-party apps, Reddit's feeling like, well, you're hiding our ads, so you're costing us money and you're not letting us recoup that money. That's not.
I feel like there could have been a resolution that included ad share revenue. Or ad revenue sharing.
Yeah.
Between the applications and Reddit. I mean, there's a lot of ways that Reddit could have figured out how to do this. But instead, they just went like full hammer, like, well, just like charge for APIs, because we saw that worked out so well for Twitter.
It's such a weird choice. Like, even if they do that, like, isn't somewhere there's some bean counter who's like, well, if we charge X and the break even, we'll lose these guys if we go this high, and we'll keep these guys if we go this low. Like, you feel like somebody should have crunched some numbers back there and said, $20 million is going to be unreasonable. We will make absolutely nothing on that. Like, it feels like did they forget to check with an accounting
That's a
guy
good
on
point.
this?
You priced it so high, you lost the sale, in effect.
Right.
That's a very good point. Tomorrow, according to the BBC, 3,500 subreddits will go dark. Most for 2 days, although, as I said, r/iPhone and r/music, two of the biggest subreddits, are going to go dark, they say, forever. And I think there's going to be some people that leave Reddit. The problem is there is really no good alternative. It's not like Twitter where there are lots of places you could go. There is a Fediverse.
Dig. Oh, no, never mind.
Dig.
Never. Actually,
Discord is
Reddit
a place
copied
where
Dig, didn't it?
Yeah.
I think Discord is a place that a lot of people are going to start ending up for some of these very niche communities, because you can just start a Discord server and you can have people on there. And then if, you're on Discord and you want a better experience, you can pay a little bit more to get Nitro, or you can pay, so you have enough people on your community here paying for Nitro, and then you're paying a little extra so you can do more things with your community.
Yeah, Discord seems to have figured out a way to make money doing this, right?
Yeah.
Actually, that's what iPhone's doing. If they say, if you go to the r/iPhone, they'll say, join our our Discord, and here it is, 12,000 members now, 1,687 people actually actively online. So maybe they have found an alternative. But for me, I'm a Reddit lurker. I confess I don't contribute as much as I ought to. I've done AMAs and stuff, but mostly I'm a read-only Reddit user. That's a big loss to lose the content on Reddit. And
It is.
And frankly, Reddit is so useful that a lot of people, instead of searching Google, they search reddit.com for answers to questions like, what's the best car, right? What's the best EV?
Yeah.
It's a much better place to search than Google.
Not as good as wheel bearings, though.
Best place to be go to
nicely
wheel
done,
bearings,
Sam.
obviously.
You just hassle one of us on the internet, and we'll
Yeah,
tell you.
exactly.
That's what I do. I ask Sam.
Give us a good old hassling.
I can't buy it till I talk to my expert here, Sam. I think I'm kind of mourning the loss of Twitter. I know you guys still use it, but I feel like Twitter has turned into something that it wasn't.
I don't use it anymore.
You stopped?
I'm
Yeah.
on it because I have friends who are still on it and they refuse to move to Mastodon or Blue Sky or whatever the other 50 things that are out there right now.
I have a lot of friends who are still on it. Same thing, so I haven't left.
But I mean, it's never been good for traffic ever. It's never, if you've ever worked at any website and you've known anything about the analytics of that website, you know that Twitter traffic to your site is nothing. It's really nothing. It's mostly just a place where everyone just goes and hangs out and like, hey, look at this thing, and 5 people look at it.
There is a Fediverse version of Reddit named Lemmy, of all things. I don't know if it's named after
Like
Lemmy.
the bass player?
I don't know if it's
From
named
Motorhead?
Yeah, I don't know if it's named after Motorhead's Lemmy or what. I'm on. So it's federated. This is the one I'm on, Lemmy.world, which is the biggest instance right now. It's like a few weeks old, and they have. If you go to the communities, they have. They're slowly. Communities are their subreddits. Basically, they're slowly creating a bunch of subreddits, but it's nowhere near the volume of traffic. And ironically, because this all started because third-party apps didn't want to pay the API. There are, as far as I know, no Lemmy third-party iOS or Android apps. So there's no mobile apps. So I don't know if Lemmy's going to be a reasonable alternative. I just don't know. I don't think there's anywhere like Reddit in the world.
There's
Not
a wealth
really.
of knowledge on there that's sadly going to be either decimated or we're going to have it's going to disappear in 5-10 years because they've blown it over Reddit because they keep driving people away and then they just delete everything, or it's or people aren't going to be contributing to it anymore. So all the information, any new information is going to be contributed to all these other sites, and so you sort of lose that one central spot where you can find out about who played the dog in Gremlins, or how do I hard reset an iPhone 11, or whatever people are looking for on Reddit.
And that's sort of the thing. It's like trying to figure out what it's going to be. If like there was one clear, like, well, instead of Reddit here, but there's not. You have no idea what's going to take over for it. So if there's a bunch of little things that pop up, like Lemmy and other things that are all sort of substitute Reddits, in the time it takes to figure out which one's going to win, you've got your information scattered all over the place.
I think the ownership is thinking, well, this too shall pass. There have been numerous revolts on Reddit in the past. But I also think there's a lesson to be learned from Twitter that users are starting to understand that they're what brings the value to these social platforms.
You're the content. You're creating why these things are worth anything.
Right.
It's you're the reason why Twitter is good. It's not because Twitter was ever run really well. It's never been run well. It's just run horribly. But the only reason Twitter exists and Twitter has thrived is because of the people who are on Twitter, not because of the corporate overlords.
Exactly. And it's the same thing for Reddit. I wonder if it's just, there are people saying, I'm going to delete all my content and I'm leaving. I will never post again. There are at least 2 major subreddits who are saying we're closing, we're gone. I hope this isn't it feels a little, I can't decide. Is it a temper tantrum by the users? Are they feeling empowered by the social media spring? And are they revolting? And maybe they're going to break something irreparably that never will be recreated? Should we just put up with this? I mean, honestly, it's sad for Christian and other third-party app developers, but is that a good enough reason to abandon Reddit? something of such
I don't know.
value.
Is it trying to make things? I mean, is that the sacrifice sort of that needs to be done for the greater good? Like, do you need to sacrifice now and get rid of some of these big things that are leaving Reddit? They're saying that's it. We're shutting down. We're done. So that whatever comes next, doesn't have this situation.
I feel like it's a little. I don't want to say this, but I feel like it's a little childish on the part of Redditors who are saying, "Well, darn it, that's it. I'm out of here." I mean, look, I don't think Steve Huffman's doing the right thing by any means, or the Reddit owners are doing the right thing. They have the right to do that. But
what other recourse do you have to making, as a community member, to making your voice heard?
Right.
If these third-party apps make the Reddit experience so much better, and Reddit is effectively killing off those apps, and they are worsening your user experience on that site, on that platform, how well, aside from saying I'm going to leave or we're going to shut down the subreddit, what other means you can send a tweet to Steve Huffman or send him an email and complain?
No, you're right.
Yeah.
But I also have to say,
the only recourse that we have.
Huffman is acting like, I don't care what you do. This is happening. He's not showing any flexibility. I thought initially, once he sees this reaction, he's going to back down. They're going to adjust the pricing. They're going to do something to keep Apollo and Riff and all the apps going. Somebody's saying in our IRC, and it's really true, that if you try to use Reddit on mobile, and you have to use a third-party app because the Reddit apps are terrible.
It's horrible.
Yeah, on the web, Reddit's all right, but
you're like, no.
Yeah, I won't. Yeah, Apollo is so much better. I use Joey on Android. It's so much better than the native Reddit apps, which are really terrible. But I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose Reddit. I think this is a huge loss to the internet.
Hey there, I'm Micah Sargent. Look, as a geek myself, I feel it's only fair if I admit something. We can be kind of hard to shop for. So what do you get for that geek in your life who has everything already? Well, a Club TWiT gift subscription, of course. TWiT podcasts keep them informed and entertained with the most relevant tech news podcasts available. With a Club TWiT subscription, they're going to get access to all of our podcasts ad-free, exclusive outtakes, behind the scenes and special content, and I love this, exclusive shows like my own Hands on Mac and Hands on Windows from Paul Thurrott, as well as the Untitled Linux Show. So purchase your geek's gift at twit.tv/clubtwit, and they will thank you every day.